So I recently bought a Google Pixel 10 Pro, and I do this virtually every year now, buying a new phone. And of course, I get a lot of questions that now, how are you able to buy a new Google Pixel every year? And I actually have a hack on how to buy new phones every year without spending new money. So that's what I want to share with you. Let's get into the video. The first step is to have a good phone. And I know that I take this for granted because I already have a good phone. But if you have a good phone, there's a certain value that that phone carries, that when you want to trade in for a new phone, you get good value. So for example, my Google Pixel 8 Pro, if you're trading in it now, it's about £518 here in the UK, which is over £1 million. And if you have I was coming from a Samsung S24 Ultra, which was valued at £502 for anybody who wanted to trade that in. For iPhone people, it's actually much more interesting. If you were coming from a 15 Pro Max, which is like the equivalent of these two phones that I mentioned earlier, you are able to get £720. And of course, generally, I hate to admit it, but iPhones seem to hold their value better over time. And that's the first step. Have a phone that you can trade in. Second step, buy shares in the company that produces the phone that you would like to use. So for example, if you want to use a Google Pixel 8, I am recommending that you buy stock in Google. If it's the iPhone that's your jam, you buy stock in iPhone. Now, the example I'm using, which is my example in this particular scenario, is that last year, August last year, I buy about $1,000 worth of stock in Google Pixel. Now, of course, there's some of you that can do a lot more than that. There's some of you that can do less than that. But the benchmark for this video is $1,000. So buy $1,000 worth of stock in Google, which was what I did. Now, this stock return anywhere between 8% and 40% annually. Now, on the good years, for example, 2023, most of them returned 36%, 40%, 35%, and all of that. But for the year that we're using in review, which is 2024 to 2025, the Google stock returned 29% within that time frame. So if you put in $1,000, it means it's returning to you $290. So for step 3, you take out the interest that you've made on the phone company. So for example, in this case, Google, the interest I had made on $1,000 worth of Google stock is $290. Actually, it was about $299, but let's say $290. Take out that $290, you add it to your trading value. In this case, the trading value for my S24 Ultra was £502. If you convert that to dollars, that's about $678. So $678 from the trading value of the old phone plus $299 from the return on the investment you made on Google stock. That typically leaves us with $977. Now, a Google Pixel 10 Pro currently goes for $999. So it means that we're short $20. But the catch is, if you pre-order the phone immediately comes out, you get a $200 credit. So if you buy on Amazon, you get a $200 gift card. If you buy on Google Store, you get a $200 Google Store credit. It means that effectively the cost of your phone is $800, and the amount of money you've been able to get from both trading and return on investments that you made in that company is $977. So you're in credit of $177. Basically, you have been able to buy a new phone without bringing out new money. So you're getting Google to pay for Google phone. So you are able to buy a new phone every year without having to bring new money. So the money from the stock and the money from your trading maintains you getting a new phone without spending your money. Now to the caveats. First is that you need to keep your old phone, which you plan to trade in the best possible shape, so that you can get the maximum amount of money from it. If you don't have any broken screen, any cracked cameras, any of that, you get the full value that this trading actually promise. That's number 1. Number 2 is that you also need to understand that there will be some years where the stock does not return as much money as it did in previous years. So for example, in 2023, 2024, you could have easily gotten a $400 as return on the stock investment that you made. In 2025, that money reduces to $300. In another year that is probably turbulent, that money is probably less than $300. So what you have to do is that the years in which you have more than enough, so for example, in the year that we had $400 return on the $1,000 stock, we don't spend the entire $400 in buying the new, in addition to trading to buy the new phone. We try to spend what is necessary. In this case, probably would have been 250, 270, or a little more than that. And what is left, you keep it within the stock so that your capital for the next year is a lot more than it was for the previous year. And that way you're able to make a lot more money in the process in terms of returns for the years that are not good versus the years that are very good. With this, you can constantly change your phone without having to think about new money. And you can do this for virtually anything or any company that you believe in, that you constantly buy their products. So invest in them. If they make profit, you use the profit from the investment you made to buy the product that you want. So that way your money goes into like a circle that you are not having to include new money. Now for people who have a lot more money, so for someone who is able to invest $10,000 in Google stock or in Apple stock, your story is going to be different. If you invested $10,000, at the end of the year you're getting between $3,000 to $4,000 as returns on investment for a good year, of course. Now if you get that, you're able to even buy a new phone without trading in the old one. So that way you are able to like keep spending your money without having to worry about how do I get money to buy a new product. So for people who actually see that if you cannot buy a product twice, you do not have the money for it, I don't totally agree with them, but I think they have the point. If you have money to buy a product twice, take half of that, invest in that company if they are publicly listed, and then use the other half to buy the product. And then you can start this cycle of where you're using the money, the returns on investment, to add to trading value to buy anyone. So for me, I'm never going to spend a new dollar or a new penny or a new pound on getting a new phone. This is the process I'm going to keep operating, and it's going to be taking care of my phone needs for as long as capitalism exists. Is this something you'll be trying out? It'll be interesting to hear what you think, or do you consider this too elitist? If you like videos like this, or if you have any other questions like this, please drop them in the comments, leave me a message, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.